Today is Monday, September 9th, and we're going to be looking at the S&P 500 through the ES chart again. Take a look at what's going on for a week. Do we have more downwards direction to go, or is this the bottom? What are some levels I'm looking out for? How did we close last week? And I'm going to try and go through some different scenarios and possibilities here. Maybe also take a look at what I like and don't like about what's developing on the chart so far. Okay, as always, we're going to start with a clean chart and stick to the monthly. Right, so first off, as always, we got our monthly back here, our highest monthly right there that we know was already tested, bringing us to this monthly, which was actually already tested all the way through. So we have this as a point here. I think just looking at the monthly, if we dive into it, I think it's important that this month doesn't close within the monthly here, or else we could lose this. And that would take us to the next part of the chart, which would be possibly back here, and back here, even down here. And then I'll kind of look at these on the weekly. And then you also have trends. So our monthly trend going from right here to about right here. We can just give it more room to play all the way right there. That gives us a nice range trend. But at the top side, we do have the start of a monthly downtrend right here. I think we need to see this come down at some point, hit it again, confirm. But the creation of it seems to begin right there. But I'm going to delete that for right now. I think it just adds some confusion. Right now, I'm going to take a look at what's going on in here. What levels do we have left to possibly hold this move down? What's preventing us from going up? So right away, we already have a monthly, which we lost. I think at some point, we perhaps throughout this month will be an attempt to try and reclaim this, and whether or not that is successful is yet to be seen. So maybe we get some deeper insight into that in some lower time frames. So I'm gonna go down into the weekly. So we have leaving our monthly right there. We have the weekly of this monthly down here, which was also tested. We tested that in August. Came down to deeper parts. There was a daily down here that we did touch and move back up. We have the weekly. I wouldn't consider this as being able to hold in the future. I mean, there's a few conditions here. One is, I think for this to have a continuation up, since the monthly was already tested, we would need to be hitting this exact or just below it, and then coming back up above it. Getting down into these lower levels and then coming back up, we would be within the monthly candle, and that wouldn't be good closing in here, and that would also open an opportunity for shorts to activate along this monthly as well. So too soon to tell. Moving forward, we have the weekly, we have the monthly. This monthly ladders on the ladder itself, ladders to here, creates this weekly. I don't like using this weekly anymore. We already came down, tested into it, which we did hold it, reclaimed it, came back up, did not hard close it, but it is tested. So up here brings us to the next part of this, which last week we tested this weekly, right? So we did test in here. Its job now will try to I think I would say for this week is to try and go up here and reclaim the weekly at some point, which looks like we did get a bounce here, and attempt to try and reclaim this. Now, whether that can be reclaimed or not will probably be decided on some whatever levels are within here. Top side, we did hard close this weekly up here. I'm going to just mark it at the wick, which is the deeper part. I think this is also dependent on whether we get a red candle down here or not, and that'll tell us if this is going to hold the move down or not. We also have a weekly trend. Now, I would say this is established to right here. This was now created. Now for third time, we'll need to be a test of the trend, and that will likely be in this area. I think we can play around in here until we get that, and that could be the next ladder point for the next move down. Back down to maybe perhaps test this, or even lower. So we'll be, time will tell with that. We do have a weekly trend down here, but this trend, um, we did test, this was created, tested. Next time we need to be respected. It would need to be respected. So I'm looking at least for this move to get somewhere down to the trend here. So let's now take a look at the daily. Do I see anything else before I move to the weekly? I'm looking for other points of interest. We have this daily break level right here, which did wick come back above. This could serve possibly as a base in the future, or we would have to basically come back down here and hit this nearly exact and move up. So we have a few scenarios here, right? Depending on where things hit. For this week, I would be looking for, again, a target towards reclaiming this weekly. And let's see if, so that's happening right now. I think, it's possible still to hit something, come down lower, and then jump back up to reclaim that. Going down into the daily. So on the daily side, let's start from the bottom, right? So we did have this weekly that I said could become a base, which again at the bottom here with the daily, this weekly created a daily, so right here. And then this comes up, takes it up over here to this point. And so if I'd say we're going to bottom, it's going to be somewhere between our final levels of this range are going to be somewhere between this wick and the body, if something is going to hold it. I'm not too excited about the lower parts of this because we do seem we will fall under trend. And if I adapt the weekly trend to the daily just for giving it a little bit more room, that could be a possibility. So I'll look at what levels are in here. Next on the 4-hour. But before I go into the bottom part of the chart, let's finish up on the top. This weekly that I drew is also the backside daily, and which actually we lost that, came up, hit that, and then continued our move down. So this in the future, I think when we come back up, will act as our point of, possibly a rejection point. A deeper part of that will be up here at this daily. Okay, so we have now our daily, we have our weekly, which is also our daily. We have the daily, deeper part of the daily up here, which could be the point of retesting the trend at a future point. We'll have to see how that develops. On the bottom side, so we have this daily and the daily body, daily wick. Now let's go into the 4-hour. All right, so starting from the very bottom, so here was the daily body. If we are going to eventually test it, we do have a 4-hour backside down here. So I'm going to mark this one. This could possibly hold it and give us what we need to at least go at the minute, possibly go to back up to test the top part of the chart. However, again, depends on when we hit that and how far along we are from trend. As further along we gets, coming down and test that means you're falling below trend. However, it is a weekly trend, so it does give it enough time to come down here. You would have a whole week basically to come down here, land here for a couple days, and then shoot back up. But that would have to be the case. Ideally, I wouldn't like that because I imagine this would get shorted at that point and have a continuation down. The reason being is that, well, one is you're already below trend. You're already start to be hard closing some things. Here we already start to close some candles. At the same time, we would begin to have begin to have lost the monthly, and that could be the next area of shorting, which would basically mean trend would be shorted at that time, and that would result in basically loss of trend and a back test and then continuation down. So that's what I'd be looking out for down here. I would not like longs in this area unless it did reclaim trend or did show that it was building into doing that. So moving forward, what do we have from this top part of the wick of the daily? So we have the wick of the daily up here on the 4-hour. So created that, came back down, rejected, closed it, came above it, and at a certain point, we did close above it right here, moved up and created this 4-hour on the top, and you have the 4-hour on the front. which these two could have some level of reaction from. We originally had a 4-hour trend here, which was driving the whole move up. This was fueling the whole move. And as soon as we lost that was the moment when we started to have this downward movement, right? That was that trend, I believe. And that's basically right now where we are landing on that. What basically started the move up was now holding it at a certain point. We didn't come down to test it exactly. I imagine this is something on a lower time frame that we hit right here, possibly this wick. It looks like this wick, and we'll have to see what that is on a lower time frame. So before moving down to the hourly, we're going to take a look at what's going on up top. So as we came down, hit this weekly, which was also a daily, and this created for us a 4-hour trend about right here, which evolved into becoming a 4-hour trend. Well, we have this 4-hour trend right here. And even furthermore, let's say this is the same trend going downwards. And we also have a 4-hour backside created right here, which on the back over here, let's take a look at what we landed on. What was going on back here. This could be important. So this was what was holding the move up at this point, and this was where we lost it. And I would say this is also important. This 4-hour backside is also important, which also lines up with the monthly and even close to this daily. So you have a weekly, daily, and your 4-hour right there until you get to the deeper parts, offering some different levels here to look at if we do make a move back up here. This also creates a 4-hour break right here, meaning that if we can swing up here, wick that, then I believe the bottom part of the chart will begin to be supported, and we can start perhaps to create a trend continuing up. So if we're following again the ladder, so this was a weekly, which was also a daily, created a 4 down here, creates a 4. This is 4, continues to hold it, which we saw here, came up here, tested it. This could continue to hold it in the future. This could act as a reverse level because we basically, going into it, we tested something a little bit deeper. Next time could hold it exact. So something I would also look out for. The backside has yet to be tested either. Next in line would be this 4-hour right here. So I'm going to mark somewhere between the wick and the body. So let's start with the body, start with the wick, sorry. And down here, so okay, so we have that, and then on the bottom here, we did create a 4. So this created a 4, yet to come back down and test it, which I think is going to be important. And then next, I'm looking at whether we do come back down here, do we break this? If we do break this, that would signal that we still need to go down here to lower levels. That brings us a bit current in the move on the 4-hour. I'm going to look in here now on the hourly to see maybe what exactly did we hit here, and as well as, maybe any of the deeper levels in here that I'm missing. I do see now at a glance at it, I do see another level right here. This could also this would be more of the greedy area of all these levels, I would say. We could keep coming down, testing, bouncing, coming down, testing, bouncing, or straight shot right down here. This could be a potential base for the future, and that could hold us up as well. So let's take a look over here, exactly what happened. So going down to the hourly and forward. So here was the 4, and the hourly was right here. So this is an hourly backside right there, and moving forward, you had an hourly front side. So these two, this is I would say this is when you have front side, back side, usually those are really good buy levels. So do we have anything else? So then you have the front side, you have a deeper part of the back, you have another hourly front side right here. And what else do we have? I think that's about it. We got a 1-hour right here, which lines up with the daily. I would actually, do I want to mark this one? This also is fairly important. But so usually higher time frames over basically have the power over the lower time frames, right? I'm gonna stick with the 4 down here. There are some potential. I like this. The daily does have a lot of confluence with it. So you have like the hourly right here that it hits. You have another hourly that it also creates right here. The next hourly, the bottom side hits, respects ladders right there, which I would say brings us to this hourly. And perhaps we have something inside this hourly candle right here that might give us a local bottom for the current part. So going into the 15 minute. So you had the hourly backside and it has a front side 15, which does hit right here and brings us also to a 15 right here. So let's mark these and see how these reacted. That, and then that ladders to this point right here. On the bottom side, we'll go to the deeper part. We do have a 15 minute down here as well. So you have this 4 hour, which ladders on the 15. You have the back side of the 4, which actually we already hit. As we saw, we came down, we hit an hourly, or I'm gonna go forward in the chart, we'll see what we hit exactly. And this was, we have the hourly in the back side, hourly in the front side. We have a 15 right here, a 15 minute right here as well. But this 15 minute, I wouldn't totally count, well, possibly. It's not totally tested. It did hit right here, which created this and then created that. And then so basically, if we can't hold this hourly or this hourly in the 15 right here, we are coming back down to go into the monthly possibly and down here. So let's now see where we are right now, current in the move. And yep, so here's what I was looking at, right? So we did hit that 15. 15 held it. We lost it. So I'm going to delete that. We came back down to the next 15. This 15 also lost. So we can delete that. We came down to the hourly. Did not get down to the deeper levels. And since we did hit the hourly, that did create a 15 for us right here. Meaning what I guess, and then we moved up. Before I actually talk about this bottom part right here, I want to just follow the trail. So we did move up from here. We had looks like a gap right there, and then move up to this 15. This 15 held it and laddered it to right here, and that is creating for us trend. So on the 15, and I'd say if we lose this trend, we're basically opening up to come back test the bottom down here. And whether or not these will hold, that will be, that will have to be something we look at or consider in the moment. If not, we are going to deeper levels here. I think as well as we have a 15-minute trend, 15-minute ladder. I'd say what offsets this to break trend and downwards is going to be a backside 15 or an hourly or a 4 hour. Typically backside always breaks, backside breaks trend. So we did have this 4 that I marked, and the hourly, we're going back to the 4. So here's the 4. I'm going to mark the body of the 4 and go back down to the hourly. So the 4 wick is also, well, 4 wick, and then we have our hourly backside right here. But you also have a hourly backside right here. However, that looks like we tested already. And we're going, and the next would be, so we have a 4 hour, we have our hourly there, we got our more greedier hourly right here, wick and body. So there's a few options here. Again, since we're looking at the 15, I'm going to look at this hourly right here. So we came up, I would back test, let's go back to the 4 and just to reevaluate again. So I had this 4 hour right here created. I think if we are making a strong move up, I would think the short or wherever this is going to be very greedy. So I'm going to get rid of the wick, and we're just going to stick with the 4 and go down into deeper levels. So there's a 4. There's our hourly backside. We have, which is above the 4. So I would go to the body of the deeper part. So that's the hourly body. And then beyond that, there is the 15. That 15 did get hit on the backside, which did continue to move this down. So if we are hitting this 15, let's take a look at this. This could be an interesting level right here. This, you have a 15 backside and a 15-minute trend. So I would be watching, I'm going to be watching this level. And particularly, I will be watching this level if this reacts and can break trend and bring us back down here. And from here, we could see what develops next, and possibly we would have to develop something on the hourly or the 4 hour next. So you do have the 4. We could come down into the 4, test down to the 15 without breaking it, and creating our next trend up to attack this trend and this 4 hour backside. So I think I like this 15-minute down here as a long, just to play in this range. So you have a 15-minute backside. If that holds it or not, we have a deeper part of, let's look at the deeper parts. So 15-minute backside and the 15-minute greedy level up here. Where the wick, this is a long wick right here. So wick and body. Let's start with the wick and look at the 5. So the 5 backside would be right here. You have a lower 5 backside as well right here, which gains holds, and we have that 5 not totally clean. So I think that does bring us back down here, and then you have the greedy part of this 15, the 5, and then you have a 5-minute part of this, which is probably the most greedy part. I would look. Let's take a look at the 3. Nope, actually there is a 3 too. So you have a 3 right here that was created, 3 tested, and this would be what's next. This 3-minute level at 55.16. Am I missing anything else? Let's go back again really quick to the 4. I'm seeing if there is any other levels over here. We do have a 4 backside right here as well, which part of this was tested. So we tested this 4, comes down. Let's go to the hourly. This 4 actually got lost, came down here, became this, and no, I'd say so far not anything. I wouldn't use this 4. The 15, looking back from here, we had this greedy 15. No, mark this. Again, somewhere between the wick and the body. You have the 15, you have a 5, you have the body of the 15, and you have a 3. There's also a 15, or their 15 origin. No, not this one. This could be developed in the future. This is, you have your first hit, second hit, third hit. Could do it. Okay, let's go one more level down to the 5. Anything back here? We do have this 5. I'm gonna mark that. As that hit right there, rejected it, came up, hit it, could not reclaim it. And ultimately this went up. Where did we end up wicking to? So this went all the way to, take a look at the 15 again. What exactly hit right here? That'll give us a little bit of more data. So that hit, this could have just been creation of trend, but let's take a look, make sure I'm covering everything. There is a 5-minute backside right there, create possibly this 5-minute backside. So I think looking at this further, it looks like this. This is the origin. This is our origin. We have a 5-minute origin. Hit once, twice, 3 times, dumps it, creates our next 5-minute right here, which is also the 15, comes down, tries to regain it, fails, and moves down. So I'm going to consider this 15 and this 5, and let's get rid of this 15. I'm going to start, well, basically what I'm doing now is looking at, trying to eliminate levels, right? We've marked a lot of things here, and I'm kind of eliminate things on what I think, where we're going, what could reject, where could be the next moves, where the next moves could occur. So this 15 wick, and then we have the 15 body, which aligns with a 5. Mark this is a 5. This is, we don't need that. So this 15, go back to the 15. So the 15 body is also the 5, which held it down, creating this next part of the 5 right here. So this 5 I imagine this would be next to hold or to test. And if we would be maybe looking at whatever's greedier in here, so that would bring us up to this 3. Okay, so I think we got a few things to look out for here. I'm looking for maybe this 4, again, the 4-hour to get tested, come up, perhaps hit the 15, which is also the 5 hold. We can go as far as the 3. I think we don't want to go above the 3-minute break, so let's mark that. Don't want to go above the 3-minute break. Then we also have 3-minute break. You have a 3-minute backside right here, also tested. Yeah, I think this is a nice greedy spot to look at for the next ladder down. If this is going to continue laddering down, this I'd say is the next ladder point. Even if we can come up, try to recruit again. I guess this lines up with us coming back up here, attempting to reclaim the weekly, hit the 4-hour, hit the deeper parts of the 4-hour, come back, test the weekly. Whether that holds or not is going to be what we'll consider. And perhaps this holds and tries to fight against trend and create something, and that will only be able to be seen over time. In the moment, so I'm going to go back to what was going on down here. Go back. Let's reset. Go back to the 4. We established that this 4 backside is going to be the greedier parts of it, and then we have our 4 down here, which would be next. So let's get rid of the 4. We have the 4 body, 4 wick, and 4-hour. We have the 4-hour there. We have a 1-hour backside. We have the 15-minute, 1 hour. And I take the highest time frames as always. We have the 15-minute. So then you have the 15-minute, which was tested. So we'll get rid of that for now. Actually, no, I'm going to leave this one because this is what held everything down. This is what I said could break trend. So we'll watch that later. We'll watch that. And ideally, so the way this looks to me set up here is actually one more thing. So you have that hourly. Okay. So here's what I'm looking at after. This is a little bit confusing. We come up, this 15 holds us, breaks trend for us, comes back down here to perhaps test the 4. We hold the 4, entering it, testing deeper parts of it. This test on the bottom could create us our next trend upward. Our next trend upward will be to come and attack this 4-hour. And as we attack this 4-hour, we can go up and into it. Could be into the, depending on what we see down here, this could be, or what we land on down here. I suspect we go up into the 4, test the deeper parts of it, maybe hitting trend, and then that would be our next ladder down to see if this bottom can hold. So that would give us our first attempt, come down, test, second attempt, come down, test, and that would be basically 2 or 3 bottoms. So 1, 2, 3, and then possibly breakout. We'll have to see. It really depends on if this continues to hold or we just make another move down. On the bottom side, right, so this hourly now is gone, which was the backside down here. And again, as hourly, as far as backsides goes, backsides break trend. So we'll have to see if this backside can continue to hold. We could come down here again, instead of even holding any of these, and just possibly create this as a base. Come down, maybe test this, get back above it, test something lower again, get back above it, going down as far as, I think we have these few levels here left over to hold it above the monthly. If those don't and we start to get below the monthly, you have a 15 down here and this 4 there. That could also give it a chance to move up. So we have a few chances here. I think to see what down here could get this to what down here could break trend. At the greediest point, there is this 4 down here, the 53.50. I think that would be maybe one of our greediest points, and that lines up here with perhaps the weekly trend. And I think that would be a nice area to consider, seeing how we react and how this develops. on whether or not this trend can get us through. This weekly trend can carry us through the 4 hour and the next 4 hour too, and open us up to come test back the top side of the chart up here. Yeah, and then I think as far as our next major ladder down, it just all depends on how this develops. I think it is possible that we just play in this range for the month until we get to a decision point on whether this is going to break up or break down. This is, I think, what I would be seeing in terms of next ladder point down. I'd say have to be this daily or something within it. Let's take a quick look. Yeah, you have the daily, you have this 4 hour right here, and on the deeper side, you have another 4 hour backside right here. So I imagine this could be the next. This could also be the next ladder point up here whenever we get up there. To really come back and test this. And depends again where we are in time and how far away it is from trend. As the further we get in the future, the more distance this has between trend. And if it does make an attempt, trend can either back test it or will be just so far that it just can't hit it. And we continue, we go back to the bottom again. So okay, so that's that for ES and what I'm looking out for this week. It's a little bit more complex, obviously here. I'm gonna, yeah, I think these are basically my levels right now. I know so there's a lot on the screen. As typically what I do is just as the chart moves forward, I start to eliminate different levels here as they hit or react from them, and that way I'll know that they are not no longer active or useful anymore. For the time being, I'm looking at this to break trend, move down here, test the 4, possibly go for this 15 for the next long move up. And let's see how the day goes. On a long term, I think I've gotten questions as well on some people have asked me about long-term outlook. So I think it says still to be determined depending on this range that we're in. So far, as far as I can see, as we have a ladder, right? We do have a downward ladder, right? From we can see it from here. I'm just going to mark these, right? Starting from here, right? And your next point is going to be perhaps right here or right here, something in this range, right? So ladder to ladder. Bottom side, you had a ladder from down here to a ladder up right here. I should probably even mark this daily. This daily right here could be useful as well. Now that I'm kind of seeing this, if we do come for the 4, I actually could go for the daily instead and just hold the 4. And that could make us up because this is relatively also untested. This one doesn't totally come and test. Well, actually, it kind of looked like it tested right here. Very close to call. So a little bit risky, I think. Once we're getting, I would like to see this hit, stabilize, and start to build some levels and hold it in order to move up if we do get down here. But yeah, so I think if we lose this part of the chart down here, that opens up down here and test these. These open up to come test, and if we start closing down here, this trend could reject us, right? And move us down a bit lower. You could have another trend right here as well. Not as much as a long-term trend as usually I'd like to see something much more longer in time. But you do have a chance here. What could hold this? You have the daily, basically the daily that we saw. We would have to come back down here, and actually you'd be making. Yeah, it's really not clear to see what levels here could hold this. You have the daily here that we hit as well. Yeah, maybe you would have this daily is just the final. This is the final break level, final break of the daily. I think we break this, then you could get a reaction from it. It still is a level to come back up again. Try to test trend, right? As a last stance, that breaks this. But as long as this wicks and breaks through, yeah, as soon as we start closing below this, we're sinking down to lower levels down here. And I think that's why taking it one step at a time. All right. So yeah, I mean, any of these levels could do it. We could get some good data, but you know, and maybe that launches us up to the top, but it still tells us, you know, we still have these ladder levels up here to watch for, and whether or not we can break through them or hold them, we won't know until we get there. Let's see how this week develops, and we'll go from there.